Discover the incredible moment a homeless boy and his twins saved a billionaire a life-changing experience. Elijah was no ordinary 12-year-old. With piercing blue eyes and an untamable mop of brown hair, he held the weight of the world on his young shoulders. Every night, he huddled close to his twin siblings, Maya and Chris, beneath the star-speckled sky of the abandoned park where they found solace amidst the concrete chaos of the city. Their laughter often masked the gnawing hunger and fear that gripped them. Those moments of joy forged a bond that felt unbreakable, a warmth in the cold, bleak reality of life on the streets. Their mornings began with scavenging for scraps, which usually meant chasing pigeons away from something half-eaten. They would gather whatever they could find: pizza crusts, leftover fries, holding each other's hands as they trudged through the bustling streets, a trio of tiny warriors battling against life's unforgiving tide. Then there was Mr. Thompson, a weathered old war veteran living next door to the park. Once proud, he now struggled with homelessness but never with kindness. Elijah and his siblings found a home in his stories of bravery, each tale lifting their spirits. They shared what little they had with him, and in return, he taught them about courage and resilience. Never forget, kids, he'd say, his voice like gravel, kindness is the most powerful weapon we have. But everything changed on a fateful day. A sleek black car rolled up beside the park, and its occupant, Richard Caldwell, a billionaire in the midst of a scandal, stepped out. With his tailored suit and expensive watch, he looked like a statue set amidst the chaos of graffiti and dilapidation. When Elijah spotted him, a sinking feeling churned in his stomach. Before he knew it, chaos erupted. A crowd gathered, shoving and shouting accusations at Richard. In that moment, Elijah's instinct kicked in. He felt the fear rise like bile in his throat but pushed it down, rushing forward. Without thinking, he leaped in front of Richard, shielding him from a barrage of flying debris. Richard stared, confusion written all over his face. Their eyes locked, and in that instant, something shifted, prejudice cracking like glass. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the confrontation fizzled out, Richard began to grasp the depth of vulnerability on the streets. Elijah's selflessness tugged at Richard's heart, unraveling the barriers he'd built around himself. This homeless boy and his resilient siblings were more than just kids, they were heroes in their own right. Together, they began to form an unlikely alliance, sharing ideas for a charity event that would merge their worlds. Hopes soared like kites caught in the wind. But just days before the event, a storm rolled in, threatening to wash away their dreams, and panic fell hard on the community like thunder rumbling through the air as the rain crashed down. Elijah's spirit remained undeterred. He rallied the community together, reminding them of the strength that lay in unity. The odds were stacked against them, but with each wave of raindrops, they prepared to turn the tide if only they could withstand the storm ahead. How will they face the doubters when dreams hang by a thread? What emerges from the chaos lies shrouded in hope, waiting to be uncovered. Elijah stood at the edge of the park, drenched but determined, as rain cascaded around him like a curtain of sorrow. He could feel the weight of the storm pressing in, a reminder of their fragile reality. Maya tugged on his arm, her small hand cold against his skin. "What if nobody comes?" she whispered, her voice barely rising above the sound of the downpour. "They will," Elijah reassured her, though doubt stirred within. They had made flyers, hung them on every lamppost, and shouted their message to anyone willing to listen. But the downpour made everything feel heavier, as if the sky itself was conspiring to hold them down. Chris, always the one with the wild ideas, squeezed between them. "This is nothing. We can be strong," he shouted, his words almost swallowed by the tempest. His infectious spirit brought a flicker of hope to Elijah's heart. Just then, a figure emerged from the sheets of rain. Richard Caldwell, his clothes plastered to his body, looked out of place yet fiercely devoted as he moved toward them. The billionaire had transformed into a champion for their cause ever since that chaotic day. His eyes, usually sharp and calculating, were now soft with determination. "Elijah! Maya! Chris!" he called, splashing toward them. Elijah felt warmth ignite inside him. "You came," he shouted back, the realization filling him with a sense of purpose. Richard smiled, pulling something from his pocket, a small, bright umbrella with a smiley face on it. "Let us make this a colorful event. I gathered the supplies you all asked for," he grinned, raising the umbrella above their heads. As he opened the umbrella, it created a tiny oasis for the three of them amidst the storm. They huddled close, feeling the first stirrings of hope. "We can still do this," Richard said, lifting his chin defiantly to face the pounding rain. "The people need to see what you're doing. They need to see how we can help each other." With newfound resolve, they ventured out into the rain-soaked chaos, where others watched from their windows, unsure if they should step outside. Elijah spotted Mr. Thompson just ahead, looking weary but hopeful in his overcoat. "Hey, Mr. Thompson, we're still on for the charity event," Elijah yelled, waving his arms in the air. To his surprise, the old war veteran stepped from under the roof as shelter and approached, his face illuminated with pride. "I wouldn't miss it for the world, son. Let us show 'em what we've got." The storm began to lighten at the sound of his words. More folks trickled out, their faces etched with curiosity. With each person that joined them, the umbrella felt bigger, and rather than hiding from the downpour, they stood together, soaking in the moment. "Everyone," Richard bellowed, raising his arms just like Elijah had done before. "Let us turn this rain into a celebration. We're here for a purpose, and together we can fight against anything." A cheer erupted, bouncing off the rain-slicked pavements and filling the air with energy. Elijah's heart raced with exhilaration. It was a small victory, yet it felt monumental. But just then, a rumble of thunder echoed ominously, and Elijah turned to see dark clouds clashing above. Would the storm break once more, washing their dreams away? In that moment of unity, Elijah knew they still had to battle the greatest storm of all, the doubts that lingered in the hearts of those around them. As they rallied the community, Elijah could sense that all was not completely right. A stillness hung in the air, a whisper of fear shadowing their triumph. What more lay ahead? What challenges had not yet revealed themselves? The storm wasn't just out there in the elements. It was brewing within their hearts, waiting for the next moment to show itself. Would they find the strength to push through, or would they be swept away in the flood of uncertainty? The rain began to subside, slowing to a drizzle as if it, too, were listening to the energy swelling among them. The atmosphere shifted, and Elijah felt the spark of unity. With Richard leading them, they moved as a vibrant sea of umbrellas and determination, determined to prove they could rise above the storm. Elijah glanced around, connecting with the people who had gathered. Faces he recognized mingled with those he didn't, all etched in a tapestry of shared hope. It was an unexpected sight: young couples holding hands, children splashing in puddles, and the elderly leaning on their canes, faces brightening as they joined the celebration. "Let us show them how powerful we can be," Chris yelled, lifting a small banner that read "Together We Rise." Its colors stood out against the gray backdrop, a beacon of resilience. He ran ahead, rallying others to follow. "No more hiding. We're all in this together." Encouraged, Elijah stepped beside Maya, who was clutching the umbrella's edge. Standing taller beside her, he felt a surge of pride as she cheered, her voice ringing clear like a musical note. "Yes, fight for our community." They took turns sharing stories, old and young, veteran and newcomer, all weaving tales of struggle and strength. Mr. Thompson took center stage, his voice carrying through the rising wind. "We've all weathered our own storms, but look at us now, a community, strong and standing tall." But as the crowd grew, so did the tension. Not every face turned in their direction was welcoming. Some, sheltered under awnings, exchanged glances that spoke of skepticism. Elijah felt it, the weight of those who didn't believe, Didn't he think it mattered to stand in the rain for a cause? Then there was another rumble of thunder, deeper this time, as if the sky was warning them. Until now, they had been fueled by hope, but doubt hung like an uninvited guest, ready to challenge their resolve. Richard seemed to sense it too. "Let us make it louder," he called out, his voice gaining strength. "If you believe in this community, raise your voices. Let them see our hearts. Let them hear our dreams." As if on cue, a roar rose from the crowd, a blend of cheers mixed with shouts of purpose. Elijah closed his eyes, letting the sound wash over him. For a moment he felt weightless, but just as quickly, a flicker of worry entered his mind. Was this mere bravado? Were they truly building something that could last? And then it happened. A figure stepped forward from the shadows of the buildings, a young boy, no older than 10, his face dirty and eyes wide. He stood at the edge of the gathering, clutching a tattered backpack. His presence froze Elijah in place, his heart aching at the boy's uncertainty. "Hey!" Elijah shouted, motioning for him to join. "You can be a part of this too." The boy hesitated, looking around as if unsure if he belonged. Elijah's heart raced. He sensed that this moment could tip either way. "Come on. No one is ever alone here," Elijah urged. It was the message they needed to spread. But would this boy believe it? As the crowd began to notice him, the energy shifted once again, curiosity mingling with expectation. Elijah felt the pull of something deeper, a need to protect the boy from the waves of doubt about to crash down. Would he step forward? Would this fragile moment of connection turn into a lifeline? As the world around them seemed suspended in the air, Elijah took a breath, hoping against hope for the boy to break free from his uncertainty. The storm might have receded above, but the real tempest was still brewing below the surface, waiting for that moment of truth. The boy lingered at the edge, his worn shoes barely touching the puddles. Elijah could see the uncertainty clinging to him like the damp air. The crowd, buzzing with energy, seemed to pause, holding its breath for what was to come. "Don't be afraid." Maya's voice rose above the murmurs. "We're all here for you." Her encouragement broke through the boy's hesitation, but his wide eyes darted, looking for safety in the overwhelming presence of the crowd. Richard stepped forward too, arms open wide. "We're not strangers, we're family. Come on, brother, join us." His enthusiasm tried to weave a thread of warmth in the chill of the day, but the boy's feet remained planted. Elijah's heart ached for him. He remembered his own childhood, those moments of feeling lost in a crowd. He took a step closer, keeping his expression soft and inviting. "Look at all of us. We come from different places, but we share the same dreams. You're welcome here." A hesitant smile flickered across the boy's face, but darkness still shadowed his features. Just then, an icy gust of wind rolled through, bringing a fresh wave of doubt. Would the boy trust them? "Together we rise." The chant ignited from the crowd, a ripple of hope and strength that surged through the rain-soaked gathering. Elijah felt the power of those words. They seemed to wrap around the boy like a protective blanket, urging him to believe. With a deep breath, the boy shuffled forward. It was a small step, but significant, like breaking through the cloud cover after a long storm. The moment felt electric. "See?" Elijah encouraged, beaming. "You're not alone." He reached out his hand, palm up. The boy hesitated again, looking into Elijah's eyes as if searching for proof. Finally, with quick resolve, the young boy reached for Elijah's hand, breaking free from his past doubts. The crowd erupted into cheers, a tide of gratitude washing over them. At that moment, Elijah felt something pivotal shift. It was as if each person, by welcoming this boy, was solidifying their collective resolve and belief in a better future. Elijah leaned down a little, grinning widely. "What's your name?" "Sam," the boy whispered, a hesitant smile breaking through the clouds that had darkened his scuffed face. "Welcome, Sam." Maya joined him, her joy mirrored in the faces around them. The crowd erupted once more, joyful cries echoing off the wet pavement. But as this newfound unity swelled, the previously skeptical faces lurking near the edge of the gathering began to shift. They whispered among themselves, voices low but sharp, like knives. Doubt still lingered among them, and tension bubbled anew. Some began to murmur disapproval, questioning if this was even real or simply a fleeting moment of enthusiasm. It's just a show, one old man sneered. They'll grow tired of this. Elijah felt the wind change again, a chill racing up his spine. As he met the gazes of those skeptical onlookers, a knot formed in his stomach. The fear of vulnerability, of being rejected and exposed, crept back in. Look, Richard spoke again, his voice powerful. We're not a show. We're a community. We're here for one another, and together, we can face anything. The crowd roared in agreement, but Elijah could still sense the doubt lingering among a few. Sam stood beside him, and Elijah glanced down, feeling a wave of protectiveness wash over him. This boy had stepped onto their stage, but would he find safety here or bear the weight of doubt himself? As the rain continued to fall lightly, whispering secrets of uncertainty, Elijah felt the world closing in. What if their unity couldn't withstand the darkness threatening to invade? Could they defend their fragile miracle? And then, the clouds broke momentarily, a single ray of sunlight breaking through, illuminating Sam's face. Elijah squinted against the brightness. Can we really do this? Sam's voice trembled, and Elijah realized this wasn't just about saving a community anymore. It was about saving a child. The crowd's energy swelled again, but uncertainty loomed over them. Was this moment the beginning of something beautiful or the whistle before a storm? As Elijah looked into the sky, feeling the heavy weight of hope and fear collide, he braced himself for the challenges ahead. The moment was fragile, and the next chapter had yet to unfold. Elijah felt stagnant air swell in his lungs, the weight of Sam's question hanging uncomfortably between them. The boyish innocent gaze seemed to cut straight through the bravado of the crowd, dispelling the cheers momentarily as uncertainty settled like thick fog. Before Elijah could respond, an older woman with gray streaks in her hair stepped forward from the shadows, her voice dripping with skepticism. And what if it's all an illusion? Her words sliced through the excitement. What if, in the end, we're just fooling ourselves? The crowd quieted, the echo of her doubt bouncing from person to person, leaving questions swirling in the air. Sam shrank a little at the edges of the crowd, a frown creeping across his face. Elijah felt a sharp pang in his heart. Let us not dwell on doubt, Maya quickly countered, her voice brightening. We're here for Sam. We're not fragile, we're together. Together we hold each other up. Maya's words sparked some nods among the crowd, reigniting the previous energy. But Elijah perceived a ripple of tension still lurking, ready to surface again. The older woman's gaze didn't soften, remaining fixed on Sam. Elijah crouched down, meeting Sam's eyes with unwavering honesty. You can do this, Sam. Believing starts with you. What do you think? Do you want to be a part of this? With a quivering lip, Sam nodded slowly, but Elijah felt the heaviness of expectations on him. What if they picked apart his small step forward? The older woman called out again. You can't trust their words, Sam. They may lift you up today, but remember, they are fickle. Her sharp tone could have sliced through glass. But another voice emerged from the crowd, gaining strength with every word. We're not fickle, we're a heart beating together. Sam, you're a part of us now. It was Richard, his arms still wide open and unwavering. Don't let the fear talk. That's just the wind trying to push back against our warmth. The crowd responded with a united chant. Sam, Sam, Sam. Echoes of encouragement began to drown out the lingering doubts. Yet, beneath that surface, Elijah still felt the pull of darkness, looming like an uninvited storm cloud. Look at them, Sam, Elijah continued. This is real. Your story is now part of ours. The boy hesitated and glanced at those around him. Elijah could see the first glimmers of confusion turning to resolve in Sam's eyes. Then suddenly, the tempest of voices quieted again as another figure, a tall man with piercing eyes carved in a sharp face, strode from the back. He wore a tailored coat that looked far too expensive and incongruous against the damp backdrop. What do you think you're doing? His voice boomed across the crowd with a sharpness that sent drops of tension flickering through the air. "This is ridiculous." The murmurs that swept through the crowd grew louder. Discomfort twisted through their unity like a windstorm threatening to uproot a fragile flower. What was this man's purpose? Elijah instinctively shielded Sam from the man's piercing gaze. "This is about hope," he mustered, pushing against the swell of fear clawing at them. "It's about embracing what we can build together. Sam's future belongs to him, but this community belongs to us." The tall man's face twitched with disdain. "You think a community can erase all the problems? You're setting him up for failure." Elijah felt Sam's hand grip his tighter and realized this wasn't just about the boy anymore. It was a fight unfolding around them. What kind of future were they truly fighting for? In that very moment, Elijah recognized their strength, but could they really transform a child's life when the world outside continued to tear at their seams? The challenges before them were rising, thickening in the air, as hope wrestled against despair. As voices in the crowd began to rise again, a collective strength taking root, Elijah felt a mix of dread and exhilaration. Would they stand firm together, or would the shadows consume them? The next moment held the weight of unanswered questions. And with it, the final threads of hope whispered that they still had a chance to weave something powerful. What kind of future awaited them if they dared to push forward? Elijah took a breath, feeling the collective heartbeat of the crowd pulsing with anticipation. The tall man's presence loomed over them, a dark specter threading through the hopeful chorus. He needed to respond, to shift the narrative back to what really mattered. "Listen to yourselves." Elijah raised his voice, trying to drown out the doubt that clung like fog. "Sam's courage is a beacon. It lights a path for all of us." He stepped forward, the gasps of the crowd urging him on. But bravery isn't about never feeling afraid. It's about taking that fear and turning it into something more. The man's lips curled into a sneer. "So we're allowed to play games now? Are you saying letting him dream is more important than facing reality?" Maya took a step beside Elijah, her presence a solid anchor. "What is reality without dreams?" she pointed out, her voice rising above the swirl of discontent. "We're not just trying to shield him from failure, we're creating a safety net of support. Isn't that what community is all about?" The crowd seemed to wrestle with her words, expressions shifting as they clung to hope. But the tall man was relentless. "You don't understand the world out there. It won't honor your dreams. All it will do is crush them." Elijah glanced at Sam, whose small frame trembled slightly. It broke his heart to see the flicker of fear widen in the boy's eyes. "Sam," he whispered, kneeling beside him again, "this man is just noise. What we're saying and what you're feeling matter more than his doubts." The boy looked up at him, wide-eyed, and Elijah saw a flicker of something deeper defiance, perhaps. "Maya," shouted Richard, "set an example. Show Sam a reason to believe." Maya stepped into the center of the circle they deformed, her spirit bright. "Takes one small spark to ignite a fire. Sam, can you feel it? The warmth from the people around you? It's real. Let it in." As she said this, Sam took a deep breath, and in that moment, hopeful murmurs danced across the crowd. Something shifted. The weight of uncertainty began to evaporate like the early morning mist, leaving clarity in its wake. But their moment of revelation was pierced by the tall man again. "Fools! You'll see the truth soon enough," he barked, anger spilling from his voice like poison. Elijah straightened, refusing to let despair tuck its claws further into Sam's spine. "You can believe in shadows or you can believe in light. Together we choose to stand under the sun." A ripple of excitement surged through the crowd, the old doubts fading, replaced by a collective resolve. People began to rally around Sam, hands reaching out to him, voices rising in a hopeful cadence. "We believe in you, Sam. We are here for you." With that, Sam took a step forward, his small figure no longer a victim but a vessel. Elijah beamed as courage bloomed in his heart. All at once, he felt the air shift again. Tension transformed into anticipation. Each face in the crowd reflected the truth of their shared spirit. But just as triumph seemed within reach, the tall man turned to leave, his coat swirling like a dark cloud. "You'll regret this," he shot back, a shadow lurking in his eyes. "I'll expose you, all of you." Elijah watched him walk away, feeling cold dread spiral back into the air. What would happen next? Would this community, already cracked, be able to withstand the storm brewing outside? Sam squeezed Elijah's hand tighter, grounding him. "What do we do now?" the boy asked, uncertainty creeping back in. Elijah took a deep breath, realizing the fight was not over. It was only just beginning. A realization dawned on him. Their next step would define whether they remained unified or crumbled under pressure. How could they prepare for a battle against outside forces hellbent on tearing them apart? The answer shimmered on the horizon, just beyond their reach. Together they would uncover their strength. Seeking hope over despair, they would have to be ready for anything. What awaited them just around the corner? Elijah's heart raced as the crowd buzzed with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Sam's small hand was a lifeline, grounding him in this swirling storm of emotions. The tall man's shadow had faded, but his words lingered like a dark cloud. "What do we do now?" Sam asked again, his voice barely above a whisper. Maya stepped forward, holding Sam's gaze, her smile unwavering. "We gather our strength. We get ready for whatever lies ahead. We have each other, and that's powerful." Elijah felt a spark of determination igniting within him. "Right. We need to pull everyone together," he said, moving to face the crowd. "There's no time to waste. We need to stay united and show that our belief in Sam and each other can't be shaken." Richard's voice cut through the murmurs. "Let us start organizing. We need a plan, a way to show everyone that we stand strong against anyone trying to tear us apart." A chorus of voices rose in agreement, mutual resolve sparking like firecrackers. They began to share ideas, plotting how they would foster a supportive environment for Sam, a shield against the lurking threats. Elijah felt the energy in the air shift as people took ownership of their words. They formed task groups, pairing individuals based on their strengths. A woman with a loud, encouraging voice led one group, while another found its leader in a man skilled at planning events. They decided to hold community drives that emphasized unity and support for Sam's dreams. The supportive hum buzzed, and with each idea, Elijah felt weight lifting. They discussed art showcases, bake sales, and even group outings to promote their shared beliefs. Each suggestion added another layer to their resolve. But just as momentum built, uncertainty crackled in the air. Richard spoke up again, looking worried. "What if the tall man decides to come back? What if he calls us a bunch of fools again? How do we handle that?" Silence fell on the circle, the warmth of hope briefly flickering. It was a question on many minds. Sam had urgency in his eyes. "Are we going to let him scare us?" After a pregnant pause, Elijah cleared his throat. "We can't change what he thinks, but we can control how we respond. We don't have to act in fear. We can show everyone that love and courage defeat shadows." The crowd nodded, a ripple of strength flowing through them. Maya added, "Let us make signs, wear matching shirts, even write letters to the newspaper. We'll shout from every rooftop that we believe in our dreams." In Sam, excitement surged back to the group, an electric buzz filled with hope. They even started sharing their ideas for signs, words of love, chants for solidarity, each suggestion brightening the atmosphere. Elijah glanced at Sam, who looked uplifted by the spirit surrounding him. "What do you think, buddy? Ready to embrace this?" Sam beamed, a smile breaking through the tension. "Yeah, I'm ready. Let us show him we're not afraid." As the crowd began to disperse to put their plans into action, Elijah felt a surge of warmth in his chest. Could this truly be a turning point? He breathed in deep, feeling more capable than ever to shepherd this community forward. Yet as he turned to join the others, he felt a shadow cross his path, once more a reminder of the tall man's harsh words, still echoing around him. Was it really enough? Just then, a chill swept through the crowd, and with it, an unsettling thought gripped Elijah's heart. What if their unity drew more danger? What if the tall man did more than just threaten? What other forces would emerge to challenge their hope? With the sun setting behind him, casting long shadows, He couldn't shake a sense that this unity would soon be put to its real test. In the heart of their newfound determination, a storm brewed on the horizon, and it seemed inevitable. As night fell, they gathered their strength, ready for the next chapter, all unaware of the dark tide that awaited them. Would their collective spirit withstand it when the time came, or would the fear creeping back in prove too great? Elijah stood at the outskirts of the gathering, feeling the hum of hope rise and fall like the tide. Voices flickered around him, laughter mingling with the nervous chatter of plans being laid. Yet, beneath it all, a tremor of doubt threatened to surface once more. Could they really stand against whatever storm awaited them? Maya moved through the crowd, her demeanor brighter than the setting sun. She was collecting sign ideas, urging people to dig deep into their hearts. Elijah caught snippets here and there. Believe in Sam, painted in bright colors. Courage over fear, echoed through the air. It was beautiful to see everyone rallying together, to watch them create a vision that clearly had power behind it. But the pale shadow of the tall man loomed over his thoughts, weaving itself into his optimism. What if he wasn't he alone? Could there be others waiting in the wings, ready to bring harm? Could the hate he represented spread like a bushfire, consuming everything they had built? "Hey, Elijah," called a familiar voice. It was Richard's, his brows furrowed. "You look deep in thought. What's weighing on you?" Elijah turned, forcing a smile. "Just thinking about everything, and about what could happen if we don't prepare for anything that comes our way," he replied, his voice laced with hesitation. Richards clasped him on the shoulder. "We can only prepare for so much. The real test will be how we face it, together, and that matters more than any fear." Elijah appreciated the sentiment but wished he could shake the weight in his chest. In the midst of the excitement, his gut twisted with an unshakable feeling something was coming. As dusk settled, the lights around them sparkled like stars, and the sign-making transformed into an impromptu celebration. Laughter echoed off the walls. Some children even broke into song, their voices light and free. Elijah felt a tug at his heart, knowing moments like these were what real life was about. But just then, a shrill scream sliced through the night. It sent a shiver down his spine. "Help! Help!" With eyes wide, he turned towards the sound. A child, no more than 8 years old, stood at the park's edge, pointing toward the woods. "There's someone in there. A man. I saw him." The crowd fell silent as blood drained from faces. Elijah moved instinctively, followed by Richards and Maya. "Stay here," he called to the group. He didn't know what kind of situation they were about to ride into, but he couldn't stand by while fear gripped a child as they approached the trees. A sense of dread seeped into his bones. Shadows moved like whispers within the foliage, and for a moment, Elijah wished he hadn't stepped forward. Yet he didn't have a choice. Sam was counting on him. Their community was counting on him. Suddenly, a figure burst from the trees, a man, scruffy and wild-eyed, staggering as he emerged. Elijah's heart raced. Was this the tall man or someone else entirely? Richards took a step back, raising his hands. "Sir, we don't mean any harm." But before they could finish, the man turned, cheeks flushed with panic. "Get away from me. You don't understand." The words sank deep, stirring something inside Elijah. "We do understand," he shouted back. But as the man took another step, something flickered in the woods, something that stole Elijah's breath, a familiar face flickering in the shadows. Where was this going to lead? What hidden truths lurked among them? With fear tightening his grip but courage pushing him forward, Elijah had one thought racing through him. The fight was about to begin. Elijah took a step closer, scanning the wild-eyed man. The man's clothes were torn, his hair unkempt. He was trembling as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. "Please," the man begged, voice cracking. "You don't know what I'm running from." "What do you mean?" Elijah asked, trying to calm the man. The crowd behind him was still, eyes wide and focused. Fear was palpable, a heavy fog settling over the gathering. "Just stay back, all of you," the man shouted, eyes darting. "It's not safe. He is coming for me, he is always coming." Elijah felt a chill creep along his spine. What could possibly be chasing this man? They were in the midst of hope and support. Surely that couldn't be true. But there was a truth in the man's eyes that felt too raw to ignore. Maya stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "We're here to help you. Please just tell us what's going on. We can't help if we don't understand." She glanced at Elijah, and he nodded, remembering their purpose. The man hesitated, looking over his shoulder as if the very shadows were alive, moving closer. "They're everywhere," he whispered, shaking his head. "They just want to take everything. You don't realize how dangerous it is. Can we help you?" Richards pressed gently. "We've come together for each other. You're not alone here." "Easy, easy," Elijah murmured, his heart racing but trying to keep it steady. "No one here will hurt you. Just breathe." The man shifted, and for a fleeting moment, Elijah saw the glimmer of hope flicker in his eyes. "Do you really want to help?" His voice changed, less frantic, almost childlike in its uncertainty. "Of course," Maya reassured him softly. "That's what we're here for." But just then, movement in the woods caught Elijah's attention. A splinter of anxiety shot through him, drawing his focus to the underbrush. The tall man from before? The shadows seemed to dance around them, thickening as if they were wrapped in a cloak of danger. "Look out!" Elijah shouted, adrenaline surging as he pushed forward, instinctively putting himself between the man and whatever threat lurked in the dark. "What are you doing?" Richards yelled. "Get back." But he didn't. Elijah could feel tension build, everyone behind him freezing, their breaths held. "It's here," the man cried, stumbling back. "ELL, find me." Elijah squinted into the shadows, his heart pounding like a drum. Would he really put himself in front of a stranger? What if the figure stepped out, and it was exactly what he feared? Suddenly, a shrill laugh echoed from the depths of the trees, and out stepped not the tall man, but something even more bewildering, a little girl, no older than perhaps 6, clutching a stuffed animal. Confusion swept over the crowd. "What are you doing here?" Elijah asked, incredulous. "I saw the pretty lights," she said, smiling innocently, as if the tension didn't exist. Elijah glanced back at the wild-eyed man, who looked equally baffled, caught between fear and hope. What was this child doing in such a place? The sheer contrast, the little girl's innocence against the stranger's panic, was jarring. A fog of dread hung thick above them. But now, there was a bridge between fear and a possible path forward. "What's your name?" he asked the girl, dropping to one knee, preparing to meet her gaze head-on. "Lucy," she chirped, eyes dancing in the fading light. "And I found someone. Yes, really nice. Yes, my brother. He saved me from the mean man." Elijah's mind raced. What was happening? Each word from Lucy cut through the chaos, sparking a flicker of hope. There was something bigger at play here, and as he realized the connection, he felt the burdens of fear lift slightly. But more secrets lay hidden in the fog, waiting to unravel. The crowd held its breath, locking all eyes on this curious reunion in the heart of the woods. Elijah could sense the storm brewing, and deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. What revelation was about to unfold from deep within those shadows? Where would this unexpected twist lead them? Elijah felt the cool air wrap around him, the tension thickening like a fog. Lucy stood before him, a bright burst of light in an otherwise chaotic moment. The world felt heavy for the wild-eyed man, but Lucy's innocence lit the path ahead. "He's really nice," she repeated, holding her stuffed animal tightly against her chest. "He's my brother." At that moment, Elijah sensed that the storm wasn't just about fear and doubt anymore. It was about connection and hope. The crowd began to shift, the whispers slowly transforming into murmurs of curiosity. The man's eyes softened, reflecting uncertainty despite his earlier panic. "Your brother?" Elijah echoed cautiously, his heart racing. The man knelt to Lucy's level, eyes wide, disbelief etched on his face. "Lucy, I thought you were lost," he exclaimed, the fear in his voice melting into relief. "See?" Lucy chimed, the edges of her smile bright enough to pierce through the fog of doubt. "He is here to protect me." Elijah felt a wave of warmth wash over the crowd. The collective fear began to fizzle out, and hope surged in its place. "What is your name?" Elijah asked the man again, wanting to understand the connection to this brave little girl. "Jason," he breathed, his voice trembling. "Lucy is my sister. I thought they'd taken her from me. I didn't know where she ran off to." His fear evaporated, replaced by the shimmering thread of family ties that echoed in the night air. Richards took a step forward, extending his hand. "We can help you both. We've gathered here to support one another. You're welcome with us." Elijah watched as Jason hesitated only briefly before accepting Richard's handshake. The crowd seemed to hold its breath again, waiting for the next move. Suddenly, Jason looked up, a fire igniting in his eyes. "But they're still after me. I can't stay too long." The fear crept back like a chilling wind, and Elijah could feel the tremor of anxiety ripple through the people around him. "Who is after you?" he pressed, wanting to protect this miraculous moment of togetherness. "The same people who resent you for trying to bring us together," Jason replied, his gaze intensifying. "I saw them lurking around. They don't want this unity. They want to smother it." Elijah's heart thumped in his chest. His mind raced as he absorbed Jason's words. Were they truly facing an outside threat? What if the journey they had started was about to be met with overwhelming resistance? But Lucy's small hand squeezed her brother's, grounding him again. "We're not afraid," she declared, defiance lighting up her face. The crowd responded, murmurs of encouragement swirling like leaves caught in a storm's embrace. Strangers turned into allies, faces painted with determination. "Can you feel that?" Elijah said, rallying the people behind him once again. "When we gather together, the bank of hope grows, even in the darkest moments. We rise together." Richard's voice rang out again, sharper and more assertive. "I say we stand tall and show them we won't give in to fear. If Jason and Lucy can face what is hunting them, then so can we. Together." The crowd echoed, the weight of uncertainty beginning to lift. They started crafting their response, their rallying cry against this threat. Everyone united around Lucy and Jason, the flickering flame of community growing brighter, pushing back against the shadows. Elijah took a breath, feeling the layers of fear peeling away. Their makeshift family could withstand storms together. They had already faced so many. This was a fight worth committing to, and beneath it all lay the undeniable truth that connection was their strongest ally. As they moved toward the gathering of people, Jason slowly began to speak about the force that sought to tear them apart, the shadowy figures of doubt and anger. But with each word came not despair but clarity, and as their stories unfolded, the tension morphed into compassion, threads weaving a blanket of understanding to hold beneath. "What if we hold the charity event tomorrow?" Elijah proposed, hope shimmering through his voice. "What if we invite everyone to see how powerful we can really be?" With every head nodding in excitement, they started constructing a plan. Flyers took shape. Colorful designs representing their unity dotted the landscape. Jason and Lucy mapped out who could help. Faces now intertwined in a tapestry of hope were also weaving promises of protection. Tension faded, and soon replaced with laughter and anticipation. They would confront whatever challenges came their way not as individuals but as a community. They could rise against the storm together. As the sun began to rise and light spilled across the horizon, illuminating their surroundings, Elijah felt invincible. This moment was a testament to their spirit. No matter the doubts or shadows lurking outside, what mattered most was what they built in their hearts. Engulfed in this newfound union, Elijah turned to Jason and Lucy. "Together we rise." Everyone joined in the chant, their voices lifting higher than ever before. And in that moment, with hope blossoming like wildflowers in a field, Elijah found this truth. No matter what lay ahead, they were ready together. Now, if you felt the power of connection during this journey, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel for more exclusive stories that ignite hope and transformation. Don't let another moment slip away. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and reach kindred spirits awaiting inspiration. And remember to comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Every thought matters. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.